Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Prince Magnum channel where hot rodding and romance still coexist. I'm your host, Prince Magnum. Welcome to Sober Talk. Last week we talked about, how AA had always had its fingers on the pulse of mental illness, even as far back as the 1930s. We talked a great deal about that. And a lot of you really thought that. What's going on, Raven? Good to see you, Hoss. I know one of us may not be able to make it tonight because the weather where they're at is pretty rough. Weather's been kind of goofy. So, Drama Alert 305. Haven't heard anything yet. Not sure yet. I'm doing all right. Right now, we're we're starting to get underway. Tonight, we're going to talk about, kind of what it was like inside my head, um, before I got sober, because I know there's still a lot of questions, a lot of things that people are trying to understand when it comes to. I'm not interested in any other women. Nope. Um, right now I'm just chilling, I guess you could say. That's fair. That's a fair way to put it. I'm right now. The big thing right now for me is focusing on getting the little lady back home, get her get her mentally well, get her cleaned up, so she can go out and maybe live some sort of a normal life. I'd like it to be with me, but if after all of that, she still feels the way that she feels, then she doesn't want to be with me and wants to hate me the rest of her life, that sort of thing. That is completely up to her. But my main objective is to get her taken care of first, to get the issues dealt with. Um, because the truth of it is no matter how she might feel about me, I still love her. Okay, so that's very important for a lot of folks to actually remember. I know how it might look, but in the end, it's really, I know what's bad. It's kind of like I know what's bad in this situation. Let's, get you out of the bad, and let's get you into something good, something positive. And after that, if you still feel the same way that maybe, we can't fix this, whatever, hey, that's fine. Okay. So, I know that's always been something that I think a lot of people sometimes kind of miss in all of this. Um, you know, that's something I can live with. Okay. Um, it's like, you clean, you sober, you've got your head on straight again, we've gotten you, straightened out and everything. And then after that, hey, you, you still, still don't think that we can work on this or whatever. Okay. You know, what's going on, Chairman? Good to see you, Hoss. So, tonight we're going to kind of focus on, from my own personal experiences. What's going on, Kevin Myers? Good to see you. Um, I know what you're saying, but you have to understand from my perspective, okay? From my personal perspective. No, it's all good, Chairman. I understand, brother. You know, when when all of you guys are here, I appreciate it. When you're not able to make it, I miss you, but I understand. Life is life. That's just the way it is. And to address the comment of, you know, there are plenty of women out there, but you got to understand, okay? We haven't spoken since last week Tuesday, okay? Last week Tuesday. But I got a funny feeling that it's about to get interesting. I'm probably going to get a phone call, okay? We'll leave it there. Obviously, I'm not, you know, oh, you had to help another friend out? Okay, brother. So let's kind of, no, not really. She's she's on her own agenda right now. Okay. Um, let's just say a lot of this is still an intervention. And I know a lot of people don't fully understand what I mean by an intervention, but this is definitely, I will tell you all, tune into the podcast that's coming tomorrow. Okay. It's going to be big. Tune into the podcast. We'll talk more about all this at a slightly later date. Okay. There's a few people that are connected, and it's one of these podcasts that, well, I'm being interviewed tomorrow for the story. Okay. And there's going to be a lot of questions that are going to be answered in that. And, you know, there's going to be a lot of stuff. Oh, man, I'm sorry, brother. Hey, Charlie, good to see you. You know, so tomorrow is the big podcast. We'll talk a little bit more about that a little bit later on in the stream. But for right now, let's focus on the mental twist that comes with chemical dependency. Okay, and I'm going to kind of lump the two together because the mindset is ironically the same. It's just that we might share, different choices in chemical, if you will. Mine was always alcohol. Okay, and hardcore drinker. Um, you know, and let me tell you guys that with alcoholism and drug addiction, and even there's even the whole thing with gambling and things like that. There are folks that there's something that goes off in the head. The wiring's kind of different up there. Most alcoholics, addicts, you're these people that suffer. Oh wow, that's awesome, Kevin. Well, don't be afraid to link it, okay? Don't be afraid to link it. But there's a specific mindset that comes with folks like myself. We are highly intelligent, okay? We are extremely intelligent. Some of the worst alcoholics and addicts I typically have found are even more intelligent than me. It's actually quite spooky how intelligent we really, really are. Ask anybody who's ever done a stream with me. My abilities, surprise people from time to time. Whether it's comedy, history, science, you name it. You know, I've got quite the mind for a lot of different things. This should go without saying. Okay. Now I am obviously, there you guys go. Get to know one another. All right. So, if you will, in essence, all right, what you're actually seeing, right? So, what you're actually seeing is just kind of an amalgamation of, a lot of us alcoholics, addicts, the chemical dependents, or even the ones with gambling addictions and things like that, which those folks are evidently bad at math. Those who have a gambling addiction, I always tease to say they have uh, they're highly intelligent, except when it comes to math. They're not playing the odds. They're not playing the odds at that point. Um, there you go. So in that regard, I mean, no offense to anyone who has a gambling addiction. Okay, there's no offense, but it's one of those things that, I mean, I would hope that we can crack jokes about my alcoholism. Damn old drunks doing it again. So it's all good. And those of us who are in recovery can make those jokes because we get it. All right, we get it. So if you guys have ever wondered, well, how the hell is this guy so damn smart? Well, there's a lot of me like it. There's a lot of us out there like that. Um, so most people who suffer from chemical dependency are usually highly intelligent, and we're very good in whatever field we work in. We have no problem being overachievers. We have the all or nothing mentality. If you don't want us to do it, don't ask us to do it because you will get more than you ask for, okay? Because that is our nature, all or nothing. Go in all the way. Use every bit of knowledge we have. And this is very commonplace for a lot of us, especially when you get a sober and get a program in us, okay? And I'm not necessarily talking about a 12-step program, just a program of sorts. Really quick, I know sometimes if you're ever in an AA meeting or sometimes an NA meeting, I've been to a few of those in my time, and hats off to you guys in NA. You guys, I'm glad you guys are a sister program. You guys are awesome. You know, I've got nothing but love for you guys. I oftentimes, call you guys my brothers and sisters in sobriety, because even though the two programs are split, you guys are just as awesome. Hands down, bar none. Don't let anyone else tell you different. But there are other ways besides besides 12-step programs to get sober. Okay, what's going on, J Dog? So that's important for a lot of you guys to remember. Okay, that's super important for a lot of you guys to remember. Is there is other ways now. 12-step programs. There you guys go. Now, 12-step programs are the cheapest way because we just ask you to drop a dollar or two in a basket. That's it. And that's how we support it. Okay. And then, of course, book sales and things like that, and usually you buy those at cost. Unless you get them from like a bookstore and then they got to charge tax. But usually you buy them at cost. There you go, J Dog. Um, so, in that regard, AA and NA are, we are the cheapest. Okay. There you go. Glad you guys are supporting one another. Absolutely fantastic. So, in the regard of what I'm talking about, okay, um, AA and NA are the cheapest routes that I know of. Okay. Now, again, I'm not saying that we cornered the market on sobriety. There are other ways. I know people who've gotten. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad you guys are getting to know one another. But um, in that regard, AA and NA doing what we do and that sort of thing. Let me express right now, hands down, bar none, that AA and NA are the cheapest routes that I know of, unless you go to church. And I know there's some that have gotten sober through church. I couldn't do it. I tried. No offense to the church, but that's just the way it is. So a lot of us, a lot of us in sobriety, this is probably one of the cheapest routes. Okay. Now, of course, again, there's also the professional help, the professional community, and so on and so on. But AA and NA are always open. Okay. Um, we're always open to work with the professional communities. We have no problem with that. I've talked with doctors, lawyers, you name it. Okay. Over the years. So again, back to the topic at hand. So now that we've kind of, there you go. So now back to the topic at hand. All right. So we've established that most alcoholics and addicts are highly intelligent people, but we also have mental quirks that make us kind of different. Now, depending on the situation. Now, I know there's some people that say that it's hereditary. Some people will say that something sets them off. I've seen all different cases, and let me explain. I actually met a gentleman that really was not alcoholic. Hey, what's going on, Ron? Good to see you, bud. Uh, I had to lie down after a while. I was so doggone tired last night. I had to lie down and rest. So I'm sorry I missed the rest of your stream, but it was interesting. I was enjoying it. But I had to get some sleep, man. I know you understand that. I had to be at work at 4 o'clock in the morning. So uh, really quick, um, you're awesome, brother. But let me kind of touch base on the fact that most alcoholics suffer from. Well, okay. Let me do my best to try to explain this. Okay. Everybody has needs. Okay. We have certain needs that have to be met. Everyone, human beings, if you will, human beings, without question, are. Hmm, um, human beings by nature are, without question, we're sociable creatures. Now, of course, there's some that are disconnect from, from this, but for the most part, we're sociable creatures. We need social interaction with each other. It's just the way we're designed. Whether you want to call that creative design or evolution, I don't care. That's completely up to you. I have my own thoughts and feelings. We'll leave it there. Um, you know, so because we're social creatures, we need that social interaction. These are certain things. Now, an alcoholic that struggles, they could easily become antisocial. There's all sorts of quirks. But there's certain needs that do need to be met, and we might demand more than what we really need. Okay, our needs, we end up demanding more. We demand more from our loved ones. We demand more attention and things like that. And since we're talking about the alcoholic, we might demand, since we're also talking about loved ones, we could even end up accidentally demanding more from our marriage, and not necessarily just um, the social needs in our. Yeah, alcoholics and addicts. Yeah, we're very high maintenance. That's a good point. Very well said, Charlie. Um, and in some cases, we push the limits. I've actually heard, because of the demands that we might have, because of just what we might normally need. We need more money. We need more prestige, and it's never enough. Okay, I'm not actually talking about booze. This is the mindset that comes with it. Not talking about the drinking. Notice that? Because this goes beyond the drinking. Remember, drinking is just the symptom of the problem. We realize that we're doing this, so a lot of times guilt steps in. And the next thing you know, we take a drink. That drink sets off a compulsion within us, and then we act even more absurd, okay? And then if our needs aren't being met, um, so to speak, we start asking other people, or yeah, yeah, that's my phone. That's the alarm. So we start demanding more, from other people. This is where you sometimes get the alcoholic that starts looking towards other people when they could be getting it at home, if you catch my drift. Y'all get what I'm saying? So, you know, if they would just understand, and these are the mindsets that come with the alcoholic. We demand more. Now, yeah, you stream pretty daily. I try to slide over there regularly to see you, Charlie. So kind of take that in for a moment, okay? Take that in. That we alcoholics and we addicts and, people that suffer, all sorts of addictions of all sizes and shapes, we're highly intelligent, but we're very demanding of the folks around us, okay? Even though we might behave antisocial, we do demand more than we should of the people around us and from our jobs and things like that. We want it all, and we wanted it all a minute ago, okay? We're very impatient. Now, if these needs aren't being met, why do we act the way that we do? A nasty four-letter word, okay? And we'll go over that. We'll go over a couple other four-letter words that are super important in an alcoholic's life. Okay? Fear. 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 That is the nastiest four-letter word an alcoholic can get to know. Okay? We become very fearful very easy. If our needs aren't being, met, if only people would understand us and listen to us, fear creeps in, because maybe they don't love me as much as they say they do, and things like this. Okay, these are things that happen. Maybe that, maybe this, maybe that, and we react badly. Okay, very poorly. We make poor decisions then in every other regard to life. Unless when fear steps in, our intelligence goes out the window. Why the hell is that? Because we're wired that way. Okay? How many times have you all heard me say, I don't have to drink, but I can get stark raving sober? Okay? I can get crazy in the head. All right? And left to my own devices, not talking to people and doing, a lot of the things that I still continue to do to stay sober, even though I may not drink, I can still get as crazy as a rainbow trout in a car wash. Okay? So in essence, what you're actually hearing me say is alcoholics suffer sometimes irrational fear. Now, is that saying that we're bad people? Not at all. We're sick. We're sick in a way that sometimes mental health has a hard time treating it. Okay? Mental health, a lot of times, you know, doesn't know where to begin with the alcoholic or the addict or, so on and so on and so on. Because again, there's many different addictions out there, and it's not just alcohol and drugs. Um, you know, all joking aside, there are so again we're talking just addiction across the board. We're wired differently. Okay, so because the fact that we're wired differently, you'll see this abnormal fear. Now, when fear steps in, you can easily see a fight or flight or freeze behavior a lot of times. An alcoholic that can think quick on their feet, like myself, I can think quick on my feet, but get me in a situation, and sometimes even I freeze up. Even though I'm very intelligent, I can think on my feet, there are still moments where I freeze because I'm not sure how I'm supposed to respond to that situation. Really quick, you've heard me use two different words, react and respond. What's the difference between the two? About 5 seconds. If I react to a situation, it's usually never good. If I give it at least a few moments to kind of think about it, think it through, you know, I usually respond to a situation better. So that's the difference. I have to think about it a moment. Use, as we might say in AA, the God-given abilities that I've been given. Okay? So again, these are some of the things that go along with it. Now, when you deal with the fact that some alcoholics also suffer from an overbearing guilt, um, give you guys an example. A lot of us alcoholics that walk into Alcoholics Anonymous with huge egos are usually the ones that hate ourselves the most. Okay? Now, when I got to AA, I was an egomaniac. Okay? I knew what I was capable of, and to this day, I still do. But here's the difference. Okay? Today, I don't have to pump myself up beyond belief. Okay? I can allow the light, the light of who I am shine through. Okay? Before I felt I had to stand on some high pedestal. I can just be me. But at day's end, I also know where those talents and abilities and everything came from. It came from a God of my understanding. So there you have it. There you go, Kevin. And, again, I know there's some of you out there very religious. I'm speaking in a spiritual sense, not along religious lines. So um, feel free, if you will, to take some of what I have back to your minister, pastor, rabbi, whatever, okay? And pass and kind of relay some of these things to them and kind of use what they may have to help yourself along the way, because a spiritual journey doesn't begin and end with what Prince Magnum says, okay? Plain and simple. It doesn't begin and end with what I have to say, because the most important thing in all of this is that you get what you need. And above all, the objective with this is to help you guys understand that alcoholics are wired weird, okay? Um, Really quick, this is kind of a joke that Sober Man and I have. But one of the jokes that him and I have about sobriety is that we alcoholics. Awesome. Thank you for letting me know that, Kevin, because I knew you knew I was going to ask. Give him a big hug for me if you would. Um, so Again, what you're actually hearing is we're wired weird, okay? And there is no set rule to this. As a matter of fact, when I got into sobriety, I had myself believing that I was 10 foot tall and bulletproof. When we got into my fourth step and I started looking at what I was actually afraid of, I realized I was scared of everything, including my shadow. Okay, I was very scared. And it was very it was a rude awakening that I wasn't who I thought it was. Right? It was a very rude awakening for this guy right here. So so now that we've kind of come to that conclusion, now fear can be healthy if kept in a rational light. Okay. So, as I've been talking to you guys about this very serious four-letter word, do understand that there is some sayings that we use in AA. Fear is an acronym to us a lot of times. Um, you know, false events appearing real, which leads us to two options, and those options are fuck everything and run. There's the other. There's one of the other acronyms, or face everything and recover, which is the third acronym. Okay, so false events appearing real can turn into one of two things: fuck everything and run, or face everything and recover. All right. So we alcoholics are high maintenance. I know this to be so because my wife is a chemical dependent herself, and I, being a chemical dependent, we are both very high maintenance. So, very interesting, isn't it? Our friendly neighborhood police officer passing through, making sure that we're okay. Thank you to the Bonterre City Police Department for continuing to patrol the neighborhood. Mm-hmm. Nothing but love, Kevin. You go and enjoy the evening. Love you too, brother. Love you too. So, are you guys? I hope all of you are starting to make sense of all of this. That we're all, we alcoholics are very, very wired weird. We're very unusual people. Um, Again, highly intelligent, suffer from abnormal fear, and we react very badly to fear. Unless we have a good solid program, not necessarily a 12-step program behind us, and we are very demanding of the folks around us, demanding more than what we sometimes really need. Okay. Now, very quickly, as we are continuing this talk of the importance of needs being met, I know at some point, there is going to be the question, about a three-letter word, okay? And the big book is very clear on this, and eventually we'll be reading that when we get back to reading the big book. But the big book is super, super clear on a lot of this, and it boils down to this, okay? The big book is super, super clear about all of this in the sense that we are not here to your bedroom prowess, okay, if you will. We are not here to judge that. And Alcoholics Anonymous, says, be, let the God of your understanding infiltrate your life in that regard. And basically, you, God, and your other half, or whoever you're with, um, figure that out. Okay, that's between you guys. So I don't care if you're swinging from the chandeliers or whatever. Okay, plain and simple. It's you guys' business. So there is no take on it. Okay, even AA is very clear about that. Some people, have their thoughts and feelings, and I'm not here to tell you different. Okay, that's your business. Okay, plain and simple. I don't get, again. I don't care if you're swinging from the chandeliers or if, that sort of thing. So just kind of bear that in mind. All right. So now that we've kind of covered that little bit of basis, all right. Again, we alcoholics do demand. We're very high maintenance. We're very unusual critters, if you will. We're very bizarre. So again, you know, it's really easy to spot us now that you guys are armed with these facts. The all or nothing attitude and those sort of things. Okay. Um, for employers, a lot of them do like having someone in recovery around, especially if there are others who are struggling to find recovery. A lot of employers do like us around. There's another added benefit because of the fact that we are treated as, I guess you could say, because you're in recovery, mental health sometimes, depending on the state. I know here in Missouri, more extreme cases are considered disability. So, say, someone from the labor board from your state comes in. Sometimes the bosses can say, are you doing your part to hire on disabled people? Well, yeah, that guy's in recovery. He's an admitted alcoholic, or he's an admitted addict, or admitted gambling addict in recovery. So in that regard, we do have benefits at the job beyond the scope of just being in recovery. Along with that, because of the all or nothing attitude, a lot of jobs like having us nearby, just because, we will go above and beyond. It's like, you're asking me to do this, get out of my way sort of attitude. So in that regard, the alcoholic addict, the depend, the addictive mind, if you will, being wired the way it is. A lot of bosses like that, and I have been told by a lot of folks that, they love that all or nothing attitude at work, because of the fact that, I go in, you know, head first, if you will, into a job. It's all or nothing. That attitude of I'm gonna accomplish this, and along armed with a background that says, I don't give up. They tore the. I always tease to say they tore the Q section out of the dictionary for me, okay, because I don't know the meaning of quit. I don't give up. For the record, that sometimes even applies to my alcoholism, because I will say I never actually quit. I'm just putting it off till tomorrow. Um, so just kind of bear that in mind. I only have a daily reprieve, and I oftentimes tell people I just put off, today's drunk tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. I'm good at procrastination too. We alcoholics are pretty good at that. We alcoholics and addicts are real good at procrastinating. So, very quickly, earlier in the stream, because I know a lot of you guys are kind of taking this in, and it's like, well, that's my loved one right there, or maybe you are kind of struggling with that one too. Um, you know, it doesn't always have to be alcoholics or addicts that get hung up on this, okay? Um, so, if you will, now that we've kind of established kind of a general mindset. Now, there's going to be other mental twists. There's going to be other issues that come up. Again, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? That's real easy. Again, we're talking about the mindset. I'm not even hardly talking about the drink itself or doing drugs itself. I'm talking about the mindset that comes with that problem. The drinking, the drugs, and the gambling, whatever your issue is not the problem. That's a symptom of the problem. It's what's going on between here. Again, all right? Now, I also know that there's been a long standing issue that I want to address again in this live stream. Okay? And this has been a stigma that every once in a while, even I still have to deal with from the general overall public. So if you are not an alcoholic, and maybe you've not fully understood this, and sometimes some of you put me on a pedestal that I don't deserve. Okay? Um, Bear in mind, I was once a fallen down drunk, doing stupid, violent, hateful things out of that nasty word fear. Okay? So putting me on a pedestal over someone who's still out there doing the same damn things, I did it too. Okay? So the stigma has always been that if they only had willpower. What's going on, Pineapple Pizza? I haven't seen you in a minute. It's good to see you. Good to see you, brother. I hope you've been doing good. I've been dealing with a lot myself, and I do recommend getting caught up on um, getting caught up on a playlist after this stream. The playlist, picking up the pieces. There's going to be a lot of information. Okay, there's about 6 videos, a lot of time invested in it. I do recommend you checking those out. There's a lot that's happened. I understand. Okay, so the big thing that I want a lot of folks to understand: alcoholism, drug addiction, issues with gambling, and maybe overeating, and so on and so on and so on. Okay, these are not these are not a lack of moral fiber. It's not a lack of willpower. It is the person has a sickness. Okay, that is the gist of this type of mindset, the addictive mindset. They have an illness. Okay, this was established by the United States government back in the 1950s. And to give you guys an idea, doctors who were interns uh, looking to become, basically interns that were looking to become doctors spent 6 minutes on alcoholism. To my knowledge, the last I heard, we are now up to 6 hours. That is how much we know. We are still learning so much. And so I want you all to take that in. There is a lot to be learned about us alcoholics, and a lot to be learned about those that suffer with the addictive mind. Okay, there's a lot about us that we are still learning, and some folks haven't fully grasped that. So if you are one of these ones that it's a lack of willpower, just turn it over to God, it thinks like, no. Okay, it doesn't work that way. A lot of us have to find our way into recovery. Okay, we have to find our way into recovery. Sometimes we got to hit a lot of walls. Sometimes we got to find that comfortable bottom, which I really hate that term. We have to have that moment of truth when we realize that we can't lie to ourselves anymore. Things of that nature. We have to find those things. Okay, I know many of you want to love us back to health, and please continue to try to love us when we can't love ourselves. But your loved one, it's not a lack of moral fiber. It's not a lack of trusting in God, even though we might even be angry at God. Maybe we've, all these other things like that, that come up. There's something missing. We have to find it, and we have to make peace with ourselves. Okay? I made peace with what I am a long time ago and took necessary steps to ensure that I get into recovery. Now, by modern mental health standards, they might consider a lot of us just like me, modern mental health marvels. But this is only through a program of action that brought me to this point. Okay? I had to have that moment of truth when I stopped bullshitting myself, okay? So don't think of them as bad people trying to learn how to be good. We're sick people trying to get healthier, okay? So please don't hold it against us. I know there's a lot of loved ones out there that are like, if only they would. No, we're sick people trying to get better. Sick people trying to get better. We're not bad people trying to learn how to be good. We're sick people trying to get better. Okay? We're not cured, but we're looking for just that feeling where we feel better. Okay? Now, I can tell you all that I do love the guy who's looking back at me through the camera. I'm a good person, or at least I try to be. I don't always succeed at it.
There are times that I fall short, but I know if I try, that I can live up to the expectations of who I am. I don't hold it against myself when I fail. I just try to learn from those mistakes. Okay? And just kind of tuck that away. I know that's deep. Okay? That's deep. You love who you are, and it's okay if you make a mistake. You just try to do better the next time around, learning from that mistake. And we can be grateful that I'm like that, because if I can't get over the fact that if I'm not really sorry for what I've done, or I continue to beat myself up, the symptom of my problems will come back. The compulsion to drink will come back. All right. So sometimes you'll hear a sponsor say, someone who's sponsoring the newcomer say to his sponsee, hey, stop beating yourself with that stick. There are people in the other parts of the world that need the lumber for a home. So if you yourself maybe have been struggling with maybe something you did in your past or something like that, you stop beating yourself for it. Okay, stop it. There are people in the world that could use the lumber to build a new home. Okay, however you want to take that. So we've talked about that, and now we need to talk about some very powerful four-letter words in the English language. Okay, we talked about fear earlier. Okay, and fear can be a positive motivator or it can destroy us. So we've kind of gone over that. All right. Another one that's very powerful. When I tell you guys that I love you, I hope that it stirs a good feeling in you, just like when you all tell me that you love me. Okay, it stirs a very positive feeling for me. So, love, a four-letter word, very powerful, moves mountains, if you will, mountains of indifference and intolerance. I love you all. And I try to remind you all that every stream and every video that I love each and every one of you for just who you are. Okay? All are welcome at this table. All are welcome here on this channel, if you prefer. So we have that. But then there's another four-letter word that's very powerful. Someone's upset, they drop the F-bomb, don't they? Well, you know, everyone knows that person's upset, very angry. That's a very powerful word in the English language. Is it a proper one? Well, that depends on how you look at it. I do suggest, though, I will not tell you what to do with your life. I can only make positive suggestions based on my own experience. If you must use the F-bomb, use it sparingly. There are some of you out there that every other word out of your mouth is an F-bomb, okay? It loses its strength after a little while, okay? It doesn't hold the same power that it did when before you opened your mouth, okay? So use it wisely. Yeah, that's actually an issue. Real quick before I go on to another one, another four-letter word that's very powerful in the English language. During the adpocalypse, I actually came across a content creator's channel. And this particular content creator had lost his monetization just like at the same time I was losing mine. He was angry about it. And he's like, I'm losing my monetization because they say that I cuss too much. Well, F this and F that, F you and F here and F there. I can F and say whatever I F and want. This is a free country. And I'm listening to him. I'm like, and before he even got into how angry he was and went on his tirade, every other word out of his mouth is the F word. And I'm sitting there going, you kind of did it to yourself, pal. They don't want that. I understand dropping some very foul language every once in a while, but if every other word out of your mouth, even when you're being nice, the F word, it loses its importance. So, and you know, at some point you don't sound very intelligent, even though what you might be saying is intelligent. It's still not that intelligent. It doesn't sound that way. Okay, so be wise about your language there. And then, of course, last but not least, one of the other most powerful words in the English language is help. Help. Very powerful word. If someone screams out, help, how many people will oftentimes drop what they're doing and rush to the aid of that individual who screams for help? Okay? Very powerful word. Someone comes up, tears in their eyes, pouring down, completely broken on the inside, and says, can you please help me? How often has your heart went out to this person? Very powerful word. Very powerful. Okay? I know that sounds almost like, wow, you know, no, it's always been a thing. Someone, yeah, you know, comes to you and says, you know, they're, please help me. I don't know what to do. My life is falling apart. This thing we call addiction is weighing down heavy on me. And I don't know whether or not I want to live or die. At that point, even if you don't know what to do, you want to help that person. You want to make it okay. Very powerful words. And they only have 4 letters. Love, help, fear, and of course the F word. Very powerful 4-letter words. Never to be taken for granted. Okay? Obviously this is almost something that deserves its own video, but I felt since we talked about, you know, fear, we should talk about some other words that are just as important tonight. You know, and I wanted to speak with the same enthusiasm and the strength that my F word, Bad Batch, you're awesome, brother. It's good to see you. You know, these are very powerful words that, when used in the proper context, you know, and I wanted to speak to you guys as my sponsor spoke to me sharing these things. Very powerful, very moving. So when you all hear me in all of this chaos say that I still love my wife, I hope she's listening. Okay? I still love her. Despite all the difficulties, I still love her. Matter of fact, I can reach right over here on the desk. There's our picture. Every night before I go to bed, I give that picture a kiss and still tell her I love you. Her wedding ring, right here in front of the picture. I still love her. Despite the horrible road that she's went down, I still love her. I am afraid for her. Fear. There are times that I get so upset about the situation, I drop the F-bomb. And I have even said to many of you out there, help. The mind of an alcoholic is very interesting, isn't it? Knowing the wiring in my mind, you know, up here, that unusual wiring that comes with being an alcoholic, a chemical dependent, an unusual anomaly in the world of mental health. Doesn't mean I'm cured of my disease, but I still have a daily reprieve. And if I remember to keep the things that I've been taught right up here, right at the forefront, and try to hang on to them, I can keep a positive state of mind. I can overcome with the help of a creator that I don't understand and the help from all of you. This is what AA has taught me. And if I go in all or nothing, that same alcoholic addict mind, I can go all the way. I can do, the impossible and things like that. You guys get it. Okay? I almost feel like I'm beating the dead horse at this point, but I think you all understand a deeper sense. You know, I hope y'all got a lot out of this because this whole thing, we all know an alcoholic, we all know an addict, we all know someone who suffers from unusual, disabilities and things like, we know all these things. Just remember, as your loved one sinks into that horrible world that we know as addiction, again, there's many different types of addiction out there. Primarily on this channel, we talk about chemical dependency, mostly pertaining to alcoholism, but there are other addictions out there. The mindset's still there. It's pretty much the same for all of us. So to all of my friends and my loved ones out there who suffer from the same dang thing, the same mindset that I suffer from, I understand you and I love you. Yep. There's a lot of us that even suffer that. I can get wrapped up in that. I can become addicted to just about anything. Okay. Um, you know, I have found some things that I do enjoy a great deal of. Would you like me to come back out to the porch, Zelda? Is that what you're meowing at me for? You want me to come back out to the porch and sit with you? You know I will. Okay. Once we come back out. So, let's get a little bit of villain light going here. Okay. You guys see me a little bit better that way. Again, I understand that there are some of us that suffer from all sorts of different things, and that, sometimes it's hard to, we suffer from all sorts of different things. And I can easily become addicted to just about anything, if I'm not careful. I will say that I am addicted to the spotlight. That's why I have a YouTube channel. I love to be the center of attention. So, I will say that I love to go live and spend time with you guys. You guys are awesome. And you guys let me enjoy, my love for the spotlight, that center of attention, that limelight, whatever you want to call it. You guys let me do it. And I appreciate that. And y'all continue to support me. You guys are awesome. Y'all deserve a big thank you from me. And a lot of times I don't know how to thank y'all enough for the continued support. But each and every one of you are special. I know sometimes, it's hard for me to express how important it is that y'all continue to support me. Bad Bat, you are awesome, brother. And I hope none of you ever get the intent that you aren't special in your own way. Sometimes I got to push some things away, and sometimes I got to pull certain things closer. I got to find that balance. But that does bring us to an important spot for the evening. I hope all of you enjoyed what I had to say tonight. I hope all of you got a little something out of it. Learned something else. I hope it made sense, because at times I wasn't sure if I was maybe getting through or maybe there was something that I was missing. But I appreciate, regardless of you being here. You guys are special. Each and every one of you. I urge all of you to continue to watch the videos and the playbacks to the live stream, and I hope you get something out of it. But as we begin to let out for the evening, as I get ready to go rest up, get ready for another day of fun and adventure at work tomorrow, I'd like to impart this to you guys. At day's end,
I hope all of you need me as much as I need you. And if no one has told you that they love you today, Prince Magnum does. God bless you and have a happy 24. Thank you.